I often say this channel runs because of you all, but without your recommendations, I never would have watched this show. And it's worth watching. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. We talk streaming movies and TV shows every single week, and today, Paatal Lok just dropped on Amazon Prime, and this is one that I've had a lot of recommendations for. I was hesitant going in, but I'm so glad I was able to see it. I need you in the comments down below. Is this a show that lived up to your expectations? And if you haven't heard of it, you should give it a shot. So a down-and-out cop lands the case of a lifetime when 4 suspects are nabbed in the assassination attempt of a journalist. The pursuit of it leads him to Paatal Lok and to shocking discoveries in the past of the 4 suspects. The immediate comparison I'm wanting to make as I'm watching this progress in the first episode, both in tone and film style, is that of a David Fincher film, of a Zodiac, even of a Mindhunter, not only because of the camera movements, not only because of the visuals and that dark look to it all, but the tone and the structure. And that's a good comparison to have. See, I didn't know a lot about the creators and the filmmakers involved in this show. Sudip Sharma, and I apologize because I know I will botch some of these names, is our creator here. And the star, I'm like, where do I recognize this guy? Oh, I recently watched Bard of Blood. I enjoyed Bard of Blood, but I didn't know he had the star power and the charisma that he showcased in this show, because he's not only good in this series, he is great in this series. Jaideep Alawat stars in a show that, I will admit, gets off to a start that is a bit slower than maybe you're even anticipating. It looks good, I like the tone, I like the feel, but once it kicks in, and once this narrative starts to become more concrete, that's when Paatal Lok really kicks into full gear. You get political conspiracies, you get action, you get hardcore R-rated moments. People are losing limbs, there's violence galore, we get the gore, we get the drama from that, and a few sexual things in there, and I thought at a point maybe we're getting too much. I understand it's a look into this world and what these kinds of people are doing, but at a point, if you're wanting to watch this with your family, it's not that kind of show. Unfortunately, it couldn't refrain itself from going too far in that regard, and there were a couple of sequences, I guess I'm starting out with the negatives, that were lackluster compared to the rest of the show. And I'm talking a couple of chase sequences that just didn't feel high quality when the rest of the show feels high quality. A lot of it has to do with the filmmaking, some of it has to do where the story was progressing to, and let's hit on it before we get into the actual review. Politics. I've already seen some have issues with the politics of this story. And I'll say this show is layered and well written. I don't know enough about the political nature of what they're saying to comment on it. I feel like I always have to hit on that in these kinds of reviews that are not fully divisive, but there are some things I've seen online, so can't necessarily speak on that because I personally don't know enough about it, but the lines are blurred within this show. The characters start out feeling one way, they slowly start to feel a different way. You're on one side, you're on the other. It's a back and forth, and throughout the entire series, all 9 episodes, it's just a whirlwind of emotion. And that's what I want from a show like this, a show that sticks to its tone, a show with pretty solid filmmaking in parts. Like I said, the look of it is great, but let's dive into this story. It subverts tropes in an interesting way, and it's almost this noir story. That's what it feels like. It feels a bit like Gotham from The Dark Knight. It's a city that needs saving because there's so much corruption. There are so many morally conflicted characters that say they believe in one thing, but maybe deep down they're willing to do the thing that not all of us would do, and you find that out as the show progresses. You have episodes that feel distinctly different from those that came prior. I think the first 2 episodes fit in a specific genre. Episode 3 kind of diverges from that. It almost feels like a Western in parts. I mentioned the Fincher comparisons. When we first meet our main character, he does feel like Morgan Freeman from Seven, as he's lecturing this rookie on the irredeemable nature of some people. And he tells him something that does come into play multiple times within this show, and you look at what the title of the show actually means, and he says to this rookie, the world is divided into 3 realms. You have heaven, where the gods reside. You have the middle, which is where a few of these characters that we encounter live. And then the bottom, basically the hell, where these evil people can escape and wreak havoc on those above them. And from there we see this metaphor and the idea of the 3 realms play out in a political way, once again coming back to politics. Sure, it may veer in a direction that some do not like, but it's real, it's gritty, it's dark, and it allows our main character to flourish and become one of the more memorable characters I have seen all year. He is fantastic, and the morally corrupt nature not only of what he's dealing with, but what this show as a whole is dealing with, the back and forth of certain characters. And it's even more impressive when you read into it. I've been reading about the contrast of a big city like Delhi versus the interiors of the North Indian heartland, and how these individuals interact and react with each other, not only through dialogue, but with their eyes and through body language. And those are subtle details that you may not pick up if you're on the outside of this looking in. But it's impressive from a filmmaker's standpoint, diving into how crime works. Doesn't matter what your gender is, your class, it doesn't matter what your religion is. And as we go and we find out more about these four suspects in this case, we continue to peel back these layers and learn more about this overarching story. Now, are there a few episodes where maybe there's a bit too much going on? They're kind of cramming in a lot of story into one shorter episode? Sure, but on a technical level, it looks great. There are a lot of genres. It's a thriller at times. It's a social commentary. You're dealing with how India runs, how it works, and some of those things, I won't lie, went a bit over my head. I'm like, I don't necessarily know what that means. But once I deconstructed it myself, and by the time you get to the end, and you're with this character from the beginning, you're impressed, both on a technical standpoint and the writing. It's a really well-written script. You don't care about this character on the level that you do just because it looks nice. No, you care because of the great script. So overall, I was impressed with this show. It isn't perfect, in my opinion, but it's one of the more entertaining, not even that's not the word to use. It's a slow burn. I'll say fascinating shows I have watched all year. So I need you in the comments down below. Were you impressed? It's on Amazon Prime right now. I need your comments, and if you enjoy these reviews, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I'll definitely try to bring you more. Going an 8 out of 10 and 80% for this show that I didn't know anything about a week ago. So thank you guys so much for your recommendations. More Netflix and Amazon Prime reviews to come every single weekend. That's what we do here. You're truly the best. I'll see you soon.